the number of plays he makes in tight contested coverage is just unbelievable. Man, I want to see him stick in Cincinnati. T. Higgins knows when to time up to go and get it. Like, he knows where Burrow's placing it, putting it, all these things. So I want to see these two guys stick together because I think T. Higgins, when he was on the field, was the best ball winner in the league this year.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Let's get to the contested catch guys here, Matt. Give me the best ball winner in your opinion.
Yeah, best ball winner is actually Jamar Chase's teammate, T. Higgins, our best ball winner this year. I think maybe I'm a little biased from Week 18, that one play where he just went up and got it. Yeah. No stats for the ball winner segment. This is just pure vibes and pure just like what I thought I saw this season. I would say T. Higgins, just the number of plays he makes in tight contested coverage is just unbelievable. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to, I do think the idea of him like playing with the Drake May is really intriguing or something like that. Moving on, maybe even I don't know if I love this fit as much, but like Bryce Young, like him being paired with a young quarterback maybe on the rise is obviously intriguing, but man, I want to see him stick in Cincinnati just because, there is a skill and like an art from the quarterback position to like throwing guys in contested situations, not throwing them into those situations like we see with some good receivers that have high contested catch numbers. It's not because they are bad. It's sometimes they're thrown into those situations. I'm talking about a guy like Joe Burrow and T. Higgins who have played together so long where he knows where T. Higgins wants it. Like from a timing perspective, T. Higgins knows when to time up to go and get it. Like he knows where Burrow's placing it, putting it, all these things. So I want to see these two guys stick together because I think T. Higgins, when he was on the field, was the best ball winner in the league this year.
All right, give me some honorable mention guys.
Okay, well, I mean, we could probably call this the Mike Evans Invitational Award, in terms of ball winner. So I think he has to be an honorable mention player. He was still really good as a contested catch wide receiver. I also think Terry McLaurin needs to be mentioned here as well. I mean,
hell yeah.
He was a guy that, I mean, he's with a classic example of what I'm talking about where, we look at a player like that's a great separator in Terry McLaurin, but always had these high contested target numbers. It's like, well, I wonder why. Literally watch him get wide open and then Taylor Heineke's pop gun arm put him into coverage and still win the passes. This year it was more just like number 5's got confidence in number 17 to win in tight coverage. You saw it over and over again. Terry McLaurin, definitely one of the best contested catch receivers in the league this year. I also think Drake London deserves – I think Drake London probably made a late push for this award with Michael Penix because Penix, as we talked about – we talked about this on the last episode, right, where – he's probably the first quarterback in Drake London's career that's just willing to throw that thing up to him. I'm hoping to see more of that. And also, I'll give a shout out to Juwan Jennings here.
Hey, there you go.
Great contested catch wide receiver this season. And obviously, he's always been a guy that has been, really good on third downs, in man coverage, on these outbreaking routes. We saw him take his role to kind of another level this season. So definitely a guy that impressed me. Maybe not in the same like highlight reel ways as a T. Higgins or a Mike Evans or any of these guys, but like just consistently moving the chain with guys kind of draped all over him. I think Juwan Jennings showed out this season doing that.
Dude, to your point, I'm so glad you brought up Juwan Jennings because, again, he had the third most yards in contested catch situations according to Next Gen Stats. When you're talking about catch rate, a 56% catch rate for Juwan Jennings in these scenarios as well. That's really, really good. Just to kind of put that in perspective, like A.J. Brown, another great contested catch guy, right? 38% catch rate, right? Which is a little bit below what you would expect. For A.J. Brown. He obviously had a little bit of a down season in terms of the contested catch stuff this year, but that's okay. Meanwhile, Terry McLaurin, by the way, you mentioned Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin led the NFL in terms of total yards in contested catch situations. I believe he also saw the most targets. Yeah, he did. He saw the most targets in contested catch as well. But again, it did pay off with the most yards. He had the most touchdowns in contested catch. 7 of his touchdowns this year were in contested catch situations, according to Next Gen Stats.
Wow, 7 of 13. That
is insane.
That's high value stuff.
Dude, it's amazing. And I will say this, a 57.5% catch rate in contested catch, which is obviously very, very good. That was second among qualified wide receivers. You want to know who was first? This is not among, I don't think he really qualifies here. Bring up his name a lot. Jaden Reed in contested catch led the NFL, according to Next Gen Stats, with a 60% catch rate. Now, he only saw 10 targets in contested catch this year, so I don't think he necessarily qualifies here. But again, 60%, that is really, really good. And again, it just goes back to the fact that why aren't they finding a way to get this guy the football, man? He's winning downfield. He's winning in contested catch, Matt. He's winning underneath. He's winning against zone. I mean, shoot, there's not that many areas where Jaden Reed wasn't winning this year. It's the more you dive into Jaden Reed's numbers, bro, like the more baffling it is that they have not just featured this guy as a true number one.
Okay, so I'm just reconfirming what I thought earlier. Jaden Reed, 14.7. I'll by the way, I always say this. There's like a small handful of people who listen to the show that just hate the fact that we talk about the Packers so much. They're like, oh my God, this is the. I tuned in to listen to the wide receiver awards show, and we're back on Jaden effing Reed. Unbelievable.
I know.
But
you
nevertheless,
can't help it though.
You can't help it. I mean, hey, he's popping up a lot on these positive categories. According to Fantasy Points data, he does have a 14.7% drop rate this year, which is hefty. 11 drops overall. But so again, 55 catches on 75 targets, and he dropped 11 of them. He basically catches everything else, like everything else that goes his way, other than those 11 drops. Like I said, I understand is a lot, but what we've established here today, James, is if it's contested, he's probably going to catch it. If it's downfield, he's probably going to catch it. But if he's open and it's underneath, he's going to drop it.
Damn.
So clearly what we need is more high degree of difficulty targets for Jaden Reed and less layups.
Bro, okay. The last thing I'll say, and we should have another conversation about this, but does this not point to the fact that maybe he shouldn't be an exclusive slot player? Like this, to me, when you like looking at these numbers, right, and you think about his game, right, like I don't understand why the vast majority of his snaps are in the slot. Like he should be a flanker player, and he should be a featured guy off the line of scrimmage, them finding ways to get him the football as an outside player. I don't know, man. I don't get it. Get this guy downfield a little bit, maybe in the intermediate area of the field, in breaking routes on the intermediate area of the field. That seems to be an area where he is extremely good.
Yep. And I mean, he was, I'm just looking back at his prospect profile. He kind of played a little bit of everywhere. He was only inside on 26% of his sampled snaps as a prospect. So I do think he's a little pigeonholed there, and I think some of it could be so he could probably benefit from an expanded role. I do agree with that.